My name is Juliet Jules Mercer, and I'm 30. I've spent most of my adult life being indispensable to people who never quite learned how to see me. If you ever want to know who you are to your family, stop paying their bills. The truth shows up faster than you think. It starts at my older sister's engagement dinner. Taylor is glowing the color of champagne, the kind of happy that makes rooms lean toward her. Ryan, her fiancé, keeps checking the private dining room like he secretly can't believe he belongs here, like the waiter might ask him for ID to prove it. I slide a gold envelope across the white linen. Open it, I say, because I want the moment to be uncluttered by my voice. I want the paper to do the talking for once. Taylor's hand hesitates, then she pulls out the stack. Fully paid wedding photographer, one of the best in the state. A confirmation of the venue deposit for the place she stalked on Instagram for a year, and a personal check from me for $5,000 to get them started. Not a loan, a gift. For a heartbeat, everything is still. Then Ryan's smile twitches. Taylor passes the stack back to him like unsolicited mail. She lifts the check with 2 fingers as if it might smudge. And then, loud enough for the whole table, soft enough to pretend it was private, she says, "Wow, she's really trying to matter again." Nobody laughs. Nobody says anything either. Not my parents, who haven't worked in years because I cover the mortgage. The temporary second mortgage they added when Taylor's supplement line flamed out after 6 weeks. The utilities, the phone plan, the taxes they pretend are a surprise every spring. Not Taylor, who once called me at 3 a.m., sobbing because she'd maxed her last card on a podcast kit and never recorded a single episode. Not even Ryan's parents across the table, who smile in that tight way some people do when they're praying an awkward moment will evolve into a different one if they just keep blinking. My face goes cold the way skin does before it burns. I reach forward, calmly, with surgeon hands, and slide the envelope back into my coat. "Let me try less," I say. Then I stand. I don't make a scene. No cutlery clatters. No chair legs scrape with indignation. I leave like I'm stepping out of a dentist appointment. Calm, quiet, done. In the car, my phone starts its little emergency dance. 1 missed call, then 2, then a calendar notification from the venue confirming cancellation and reminding me the deposit is non-refundable. Good. I like clean math. People will say this started tonight, but that's not how these stories work. This line was drawn in pencil years ago. Tonight I inked it. It started when I got into my first choice college and my mother said not to rub it in because Taylor hadn't applied. It grew the year I started my business and my father called it risky, then emailed me Taylor's resume a year later. It settled in the 1,000 little moments I was useful but invisible. If you're waiting for a blow-up, you'll be disappointed. What comes after is quieter and sharper. I go home, I open my laptop, and I begin to turn off the pipelines that keep everyone comfortable. The auto transfers to my parents' checking, disabled. The MX grocery card they use, canceled. The family phone plan that somehow means I pay for 5 lines, removed. The rent app, where I manually cover late fees because it's just this month, uninstalled. There's a story people like to tell about daughters who help. It's written in soft light and ends with framed photos and speeches about gratitude. I don't live in that story. I live in the one where love is measured in invoices and my name in the memo line stands in for affection. 2 days pass. Silence. Which in my family means nothing is quiet at all. They're conferencing without me. On day 3, I answer an unknown number out of reflex. "Why would you cancel the venue?" my mother says. No greeting, no apology. "You knew how much Ryan loved it." "She made it clear she didn't love anything I did," I say. I believed her. "You didn't have to take it so personally. It was a joke." "Did you laugh?" Silence. "Did Dad? Did Taylor?" More silence. Then the soft click of her swallowing the wrong thing. "You're punishing everyone over one comment." There it is. The version of me they know how to fight. I don't give it to them. "I'm not punishing anyone," I say. "I'm stepping away from people who only find me valuable when I'm swiping." "We're your family," she tries. "What does that mean?" I ask, if it only works one way. I hang up. I don't feel guilty. I feel clean. That afternoon, a text from Taylor. "You really canceled the venue over dumb drama? Whatever. We'll figure it out without you. Don't bother coming." The entitlement is so familiar I could recite it. I don't reply. Facebook blooms with the kind of vague post that pretends it's not about anything and is about everything. Disappointments come from the most unexpected places. My aunt texts to ask what happened and why I refuse to help. I tell her to ask my parents. She says they said I don't like Ryan. And there it is, the new script. Not that I was humiliated after presenting a gift worth more than their entire budget. Not that they watched. Just that I'm petty. Night falls slow and sticky. I order Thai. I answer client emails. At 11:07, my screen lights. Ethan, my boyfriend, sends a message. Call if you want me to come over. Or say the word, and I stay on the phone till you sleep. It's the kind of offer that doesn't require me to be impressive or cheerful first. I type, I'm okay. Tell me something true. He sends back a photo of the lousy plant on his windowsill. This guy is a survivor. Forgot to water him for a month. He forgave me anyway. I laugh, and it lands somewhere it can do good. Day 5, the first voicemail from my father. You've made your point, Jules. I hope you're happy. You ruined their wedding. You abandoned your family over a little comment. You're acting like a traitor to your own blood. The word hangs there. Traitor. As if I defected to a foreign country instead of finally refusing conscription. The wedding happens a week later. Backyard ceremony. Folding chairs. I see it on Facebook because of course I do. My seat is empty. The comments are full of heart emojis and polite awe. People clap for moments they don't understand. 2 days after, a text from Ryan's father. I don't know what really happened, but I saw your envelope at dinner. I saw what was in it. Some of us noticed. Hope you're okay. It takes me a minute to realize I'm crying. Not from vindication, but from the shock of being witnessed by someone who owed me nothing. When the money stops, the noise begins. Bills pile. Excuses multiply. The family group chat revives like a machine you forgot you plugged in. Then another unknown number texts a single line. Thought you should know. An attachment loads. Grainy photo. Shot from a window across a driveway. Taylor arguing with a woman who looks like Ryan's mother. Hands slicing the air. In the background, a leftover wedding tent sags like a tired lung. 10 minutes later, another message. He's burning bridges too fast. Your silence is louder than their noise. Watch closely. No signature. I should be unnerved. I'm not. I'm steadier. It's not proof I need. It's peace. I put my phone face down and stand at the window. The city is the same as it was yesterday, which feels like a small miracle. There is a world beyond the table where you are misnamed, beyond the house where your generosity is a faucet no one looks up from. Somewhere in that world, I've begun to belong to myself. My name is Juliet Mercer. And tonight I learned the difference between being needed and being wanted. One is an invoice, the other is a vow. The first 48 hours after I stop the pipelines are quiet in the way hospitals are quiet. Sterile, humming, everyone pretending nothing hurts. Silence in my family never meant peace. It meant curation. They were in a group chat somewhere, stitching a new story out of old habits. On the morning of day 3, my doorbell doesn't ring. My phone does. Why would you take it so personally? My mother asks, skipping greetings like they're luxury items. Taylor was joking. Did you laugh, I ask? A pause, a tiny exhale. Jules, you've always been sensitive. I look out the window at the indifferent sun. Maybe I've always been paying attention. She shifts to strategy. You didn't have to cancel the venue. That was spiteful. It was clarity, I say. A deposit is a promise. She rejected it. I lower my voice because the truth is sharpest when you don't raise it. I believed her. She tries the old incantation. We're your family. What does that mean? I ask. If the only time you say it is right after I say no. She goes quiet long enough for me to hear the refrigerator in her kitchen cycling on. That hum is the soundtrack of my childhood, machines doing their jobs while people opted out. You'll regret this, she says finally. You can't undo a choice like this. I'm not trying to, I say, and end the call before she can convert my sentence into another debt. By afternoon, the air feels charged. Taylor texts a screen-length monologue that reads like a closing argument delivered by someone who never went to law school. You embarrassed us at dinner. You made everything about you. Ryan's parents think you don't approve of him. You need to fix this before it ruins our wedding. I scroll to the end. No apology, no ownership, just a demand for repair as if dignity were drywall and I should show up with a toolkit. I set the phone down and open my bank app, not to transfer anything, but to look at the blank spaces where the automatic debits used to be. There's a peace in clean ledgers. It doesn't sing, it steadies. By evening, the public relations wing of my family goes live. My mother posts a filtered photo of a sunset with a caption about disappointments from unexpected places. My aunt messages to ask why I'm boycotting the wedding. I tell her to ask my parents. She replies, "They said you've been overwhelmed lately, that your mental health is fragile." There it is, the gentler assassination. If they can't make you cruel, they'll make you unwell. I don't reply. There are fights you win only by refusing to audition for them. Ethan arrives without fanfare, 2 knocks I know by heart, and the tiny scrape of his key on the lock because my door sticks. He's carrying grocery bags like gifts no one has to unwrap. "I brought oranges," he says, "and that licorice tea you hate but drink when you have to think." "Bribery," I say, stepping aside. I'm impressionable. He sets the bags down, studies my face the way some people read sheet music. "How's your heart?" "Beating," I say. "Hard, but steady." He nods like the answer past some quiet test and kisses my temple. We eat on the couch, cold noodles, ginger heat, the kind of food that convinces your body it's safe to rest. He tells me a story about getting stuck in an elevator with a violinist who practiced scales like they were incantations. "Sometimes repetition is rescue," he says, half laughing. "You just keep doing the true thing until the doors open." After he leaves, I fall asleep to a sound I don't recognize immediately. It takes me a beat to realize it's my own breathing, unhurried. The wedding happens 3 days later. I know because the photos multiply everywhere. Backyard ceremony, folding chairs, twinkle lights sagging between gutters. People look radiant in the way relief looks radiant. My mother posts a carousel with the caption, "Love wins." Under it, a comment from my father, "Family forever." My name isn't tagged. It doesn't have to be for me to feel its absence like a bruise. That night, my phone vibrates with a number I don't know. I almost ignore it, then answer because courage sometimes sounds exactly like boredom. "Juliet?" The voice is older, careful. "It's Mark, Ryan's dad." My spine straightens. "Hello. I just wanted to say..." He exhales, like the sentence is heavy. "At the dinner, I saw your envelope. I saw the receipts. Not everyone missed it." He waits, maybe for me to cry or rant. I do neither. I don't know the whole story, but I know generosity when I see it. I'm sorry for what happened. "Thank you," I say, and I mean it the way you mean water in a desert. Not because it solves thirst forever, but because it reminds you your body wasn't lying. The next morning, my father leaves a voicemail that starts like a reprimand and ends like a verdict. "You made your point. You ruined their day. You abandoned your blood. Traitor." He says the word like I belong to an army that pays in affection and I've defected to a country called boundaries. I replay the message once, not to memorize it, but to confirm that I have not imagined it. Then I delete it. It is not a stone I want to carry. Later that week, the stranger reappears. "Thought you should know." Another photo arrives. Taylor in my parents' driveway, hands slicing the air. The angle suggests a window. In the background, a white rental van door hangs open. Someone is returning chairs. The tent is half collapsed, ribs showing. 10 minutes later, your silence is louder than their noise. Watch closely. No signature, no demand. Just a breadcrumb trail through a story I've stopped volunteering to tell. I go to the gym because sometimes a treadmill is just a moving floor that lets your body practice leaving. On the way home, I buy a plant I will probably mistreat. The girl at the counter says, "This one's hard to kill." I almost say so was I, but I just smile and carry resilience home in a pot. On Sunday, there's a knock. I open the door and find a bouquet on the mat, wildflowers that look like they refuse to be organized. No note. Ethan texts 6 minutes later, "Not me." But I wish I'd thought of it. I take the flowers to the sink, cut the stems, and realize my hands are shaking. Not with fear. With tenderness I haven't allowed in a while. Midweek, the smear refines. My aunt posts another status about supporting family with compassion through mental challenges. I'm not tagged, again. My mother comments, "Always here." A friend from college DMs, "Hey, are you okay? Your mom's posts seem pointed." I type and erase 3 drafts. Then I send, "I'm okay, I'm not fragile, I'm just finished." That afternoon, Taylor sends an email with the subject line, "Apology." The body is not an apology. It is a list disguised as remorse. I was stressed. You embarrassed me. Ryan's parents were judging. You should have waited to cancel. You made us look poor. I read it twice to make sure there isn't a sentence hiding in there that says I'm sorry. There isn't. I archive it. I don't need annotated proof that someone refuses to see me. I change the locks on my boundaries. It looks like this. I block the family group chat and tell Ethan where to find the emergency bypass if something real happens. I ask my accountant to flag any attempts to reauthorize the old auto transfers. I put my name back at the center of my calendar and schedule small, stubborn joys. A matinee alone, a morning at the farmer's market, an hour where my phone lives in a drawer. On Friday, I run into Emily, Ryan's younger sister, in the freezer aisle of the grocery store, both of us staring at the same brand of mint ice cream like we can will it into being on sale. She's always been quieter than her sister, less lacquered, eyes that register before they approve. She glances around, then steps closer. They're falling apart without your money, she says, as if she's handing me a weather report. Taylor and Ryan fight every day. Your parents are playing victims, but it's not landing. I study her face. Why tell me? I watched the dinner, she says. I watched you give, and I watched everyone pretend not to see it. That was... She searches for a word and settles on the right one. Cruel. For a second, I want to defend them out of muscle memory, to say they're complicated. I don't. Thank you, I say instead. She nods, then adds, people remember who stays quiet and who leaves with dignity. When she walks away, I realize I'm breathing easier, not because I need a jury, because I have a witness. There's a difference. That night, Ethan and I sit on my balcony with mugs of tea I still hate. City lights lay coins across the dark. You're doing the hard kind of healing, he says, fingers threading mine. The kind where the wound isn't a person, it's a pattern. I tilt my head. What if I mess up and call them back into the same dance? Then you stop the music again. He squeezes my hand. Repeating the right thing is not failure, it's fluency. The next morning, an email lands with no subject line, no greeting, just a sentence that feels like a closed door turning into a window. I saw what they did to you, and I knew no one else would hold them accountable. There's an attachment, another candid shot, this one of Ryan at a parking lot, arguing with his mother. No theatrics, just a son being told something he doesn't want to hear. I don't respond. Whoever this is doesn't want conversation. They want record. By Sunday night, my father's second voicemail arrives, shorter, angrier. You think you're better than us. You'll be back. I delete it. I clean the kitchen. I watch a dumb show with a laugh track because sometimes your body needs the reminder. I end the week by writing 3 sentences on a yellow sticky note and tucking it under the magnet shaped like a pear on my fridge. Being needed is not the same as being loved. A boundary is not the same as a punishment. The truth does not require a crowd. When I turn off the lights, the apartment doesn't feel empty. It feels exact, like I'm finally living inside the space I actually have, not the one I was subsidizing. Somewhere out there, Taylor is telling a version of this where I'm the villain and a diagnosis. Somewhere, my parents are rehearsing their lines about devotion and betrayal. Somewhere, a stranger is taking photos that tell the quieter truth, that what we do when no one claps is who we are. And here, right here, I'm practicing the repetition that saves. I don't have to buy my way into love. I don't have to stand under a tent that only collapses when I step underneath it. I don't have to matter to people who only learn my name at the bank. My name is Juliet Mercer. I am not fragile. I am finished. The first knock comes on a Thursday. Rain tapping the porch roof, thunder in the distance, that kind of cinematic weather that tries too hard to foreshadow. I open the door and there they are, my parents. No call, no warning, just 2 umbrellas and matching expressions like they've come to collect a debt the universe owes them. My mom starts first, her voice syruped with concern. Sweetheart, we just want to talk. I lean against the frame. You could have called. She steps closer. We were worried about you. You've been distant. Your sister's heartbroken. That must be hard, I say. She still has a husband and a mortgage I used to pay. Dad cuts in. That's exactly what we need to discuss. We're struggling right now. Ryan's business fell through. The house, well, the payments are piling up. And? He stares at me like I've just forgotten my cue. You can't just turn your back on family. There it is. That line again. The script they never bother to rewrite. I step outside, the rain catching in my hair. You keep saying that word like it's a password. But the door you're trying to open doesn't exist anymore. My mom's tone sharpens. Juliet, we told Ryan's parents you were dealing with mental health issues. That's why you missed the wedding. We were protecting you. My jaw tightens. Protecting me from what? The truth? You don't understand, she says quickly. People talk. Yeah, I whisper. And you gave them the story. The conversation dies right there. I don't shout. I just step back inside and close the door. The sound is soft but final. Inside, Ethan looks up from the couch. You okay? I nod, but my hands are trembling. He takes them gently, anchoring me with that quiet strength of his. They came to pull you back into the storm, he says. Don't go. I rest my forehead against his shoulder. I won't. Later that night, an email arrives. No subject, no signature, just a photo. It's Taylor, standing in my parents' driveway, mid-argument. She's crying, pointing toward the house. The photo's grainy, taken from a distance, the same mysterious angle as before. 10 minutes later, another message. They're turning on each other now. You don't have to lift a finger, just watch. I delete it, not because I'm afraid, but because I already decided to stop watching pain I didn't create. Still, I can't help but wonder who's behind the camera. Someone close enough to see through their windows. Someone who wants me to know I'm not crazy. The next day, I run into Emily again, Ryan's younger sister, at the coffee shop. She spots me first. Juliet, she says softly, I know this is weird, but you were right. About what? She glances toward the window. About them. They've been lying. To everyone. Mom told people you had a breakdown. Dad said you exploded at dinner, but I was there. You didn't explode, you just walked away. For a second, the air leaves my lungs. Why tell me this? Because someone should, she says, and because I think they're scared of you now. Scared? She nods. People who can't be controlled always scare the ones who live off control. Her words stay with me all day. That night, Ethan makes pasta while I scroll through old messages I used to save from my family. Half requests, half guilt trips. Can you cover the tax bill? Just this month, promise. Don't tell Taylor we asked. I delete them all, one by one. Each click sounds like an exhale. By midnight, another message appears. Same sender, same eerie calm. They're unraveling faster than you think. But don't get too comfortable. They're planning something. I should ignore it, but I can't. There's a line in my gut that hums when something's coming. And it hums now. The next morning, a certified letter waits in my mailbox. Thick envelope, legal header. My name typed with mechanical precision. Notice of claim for repayment of family debts and shared assets. I almost laugh. They're suing me. Every dollar I ever gave them. The mortgage payments, the credit cards, the tuition help, even the kitchen appliances I ordered during their renovation. It's all listed here as loans. Ethan reads over my shoulder. They're trying to rewrite history. No, I say quietly. They're trying to monetize it. I sit down, the absurdity of it settling into my bones. My parents didn't just take my money. They're trying to turn it into evidence against me. Ethan kneels beside me. We'll fight it. My firm has a friend in contract law. I nod, still staring at the paper. It's not the lawsuit that hurts, it's how fast they did the math. 2 days later, Ethan's lawyer friend sends the response. We file a counterclaim, full mortgage reimbursements, unpaid car repairs, damages for harassment. When I sign my name, my pen doesn't shake. The ink doesn't even smudge. A storm passes that night, rain rattling the windows like applause. I sit by the window, watching lightning flash through the dark, and I think about every time I bought my way into love. Every check was a please see me. Every payment a don't forget I exist. Not anymore. Now they'll have to remember me for something else entirely. The daughter who finally stopped apologizing for wanting respect. Before bed, I check my email one last time. Another message from the unknown sender. You did the right thing. They won't stop until you make them look in the mirror. I stare at the words. For once, I don't feel haunted. I feel witnessed. Outside, the thunder fades. Inside, my pulse slows. Somewhere between the silence and the storm, I realize something simple and terrifying. My family didn't just lose my money. They lost their power. And they will not forgive me for that. The lawsuit was supposed to scare me. Instead, it clarified things. Once you've been accused of greed by the people who drained you dry, fear loses its edge. The first week after we filed the counterclaim, my parents went silent again. Not the calm kind, the calculating kind. It was the silence that used to precede a guilt trip visit or a late-night emergency text. I'd seen this pattern too many times. Taylor, though, cracked first. She showed up in my office lobby on a Tuesday. No appointment, no warning. The receptionist buzzed me like she'd found a ghost. She says she's your sister. When I walked out, I almost didn't recognize her. Her hair was unbrushed, her eyes ringed in sleepless circles, her posture defiant but desperate. "Nice place," she said, glancing around. "Looks like business is good." "I work hard," I replied evenly. She scoffed. "You always have to make everything about how much harder you work than everyone else." I sighed. "What do you want, Taylor?" She hesitated, then slid her phone across the desk. A photo of her apartment, half empty. Boxes, overturned vanity, the walls bare. "He left," she said. "Ryan. Took the dog, took half the furniture, said I was toxic, and you poisoned everyone against us." "I didn't poison anyone," I said quietly. "I just stopped financing the illusion." Her voice cracked. "You win, okay? Everyone sees I'm nothing without you. Is that what you wanted?" I leaned back. "I wanted peace. You mistook that for punishment." She flinched, then stood up fast, pacing like a caged thing. "Mom and Dad are losing it. They said they might have to sell the house. You're really going to let that happen?" "They already did," I said, "the moment they sold their integrity." Her face hardened, and for the first time she looked small. "You sound just like him," she muttered. "Like who?" "Ryan, when he left." I didn't answer. She grabbed her bag and stormed out. The door closed so softly it felt rehearsed, as if she'd practiced leaving before she came. That night my phone buzzed again. Mom. One photo. My childhood bedroom, stripped bare. The caption, "We'll be out by the end of the month. Hope you're happy." For the first time in months, I sat down and actually felt something. Not anger, not guilt. Just a hollow ache where nostalgia used to be. They'd reduced our entire relationship to one final performance, a guilt snapshot meant to make me flinch. But I didn't, because I knew the truth. I hadn't taken their house. Their choices had. The next morning, Ethan found me staring at the photo. He placed a mug of coffee beside me. "You don't owe them comfort," he said. "I know," I said. "It's just strange seeing your past packed into boxes." He nodded. "That's all it ever was. Furniture in someone else's version of you." 2 days later, another email arrived from the anonymous watcher. Same format. No subject line. Just a photo. This time it was Ryan again. In a parking lot, mid-argument with his mother. The caption read, "Even the ones who left them are starting to see the truth." I stared at it for a long time before closing the laptop. Whoever this person was, they weren't threatening me. They were documenting collapse, the wreckage that followed when I stopped playing savior. A week passed. Word spread that my parents had moved into a rental 30 minutes away. Smaller house, no yard, no guest room. Dad had taken a part-time job at a hardware store. Mom was bookkeeping for a friend's cleaning company. And Taylor, she'd moved back in with them. Social media told the rest of the story. Taylor's old photos of the engagement, the wedding, the perfect couple captions, gone. Her last post read, "Starting over isn't weakness. It's proof you survived." Ethan saw it before I did. "You going to reach out?" he asked gently. I shook my head. "Not yet. I don't want to be her emergency exit again." He nodded, understanding. Sometimes love is staying away so people can hear their own noise. That weekend, my mother called 3 times. I didn't answer. On the 4th, she left a voicemail. "We're not asking for money, Jules. Just don't let this be permanent. Your father's health isn't what it used to be." I deleted it before the guilt could take root. Sunday evening, I went for a walk. The city smelled like wet pavement and new beginnings. In a bakery window, I caught my reflection. Tired but steady, softer around the eyes. I realized I looked more like myself than I had in years. When I got home, another envelope waited in my mailbox. Plain, off-white, no return address. Inside was a cashier's check for $8,200. No note, no explanation. At first, I thought it was a scam until I saw the number. $8,200. Too specific to be random. Too familiar to be coincidence. That was the exact amount I'd offered Taylor and Ryan at the engagement dinner. $5,000 in a check. $2,000 for the photographer. $1,000 for whatever else you need. Or I sat down on the porch steps, holding the check like it might tell me something if I stared long enough. Ethan came outside, drying his hands on a towel. "What's that?" "Closure," I said quietly, "or maybe conscience." "From who?" I smiled faintly. "My guess? Emily. She was the only one who knew every detail." He looked at the paper, then at me. "You going to cash it?" "Not yet," I said. "It's not about the money anymore." He nodded, understanding without needing the rest of the sentence. I tucked the check into a drawer inside the hall table, the same place I once kept old receipts for things I'd bought them. Somehow it felt poetic, a refund filed under finally seen. That night, as I locked up, my phone lit one last time. Another message from the unknown sender. Sometimes, justice doesn't look like revenge. It looks like silence. For once, I didn't need to reply, because silence, real, final silence, was exactly what I'd earned.